All right, so this is the Matrix 301, one of my personal favorite matrices. This is all about data, statistics, and creating a comparative market analysis report. A comparative market analysis report is a CMA where we're providing our seller or buyer a range, keyword there is range of prices, so that they can come up with their asking price when we list the property in the MLS or recommend a
check
purchase price.
We're going
to
double check
not
the description of
number,
how the agent's
but
describing
it.
But this looks so
for
far
our
like a
buyer
standard
when they want
resale
to
with
submit a
minimum improvements
purchase offer.
kitchen. I'm not seeing too many modifications.
All right. Okay. So without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started.
All right.
This is
Here's
the
thing, though. I don't want to go too fast.
As I said, it is
there's
the
a
most
patio.
dense
Definitely do see that there's a patio
that we
space on the
offer,
outside,
and
we definitely do want to know if that's
resources.
an enclosed patio
That's going
or
to come
not.
into place, so we have a good
particular,
understanding
that
of
can go
how
towards
we can
the
watch this again.
overall sale
fast
of
forward
the property,
rewind.
making it
I'm going to go ahead and cover
sale
real
price.
quick.
We're going to double check
where
that.
you can find all of our training material,
Again, I don't see too many improvements.
videos. So
Definitely
if you're on the main website, miamirealtors.com,
we're in
one of the bathrooms
where it says
does look like
education.
this bathroom.
I'm going to give you a link.
Do not worry about that part.
We definitely do see that
you come to education,
brand new
you're going to go down to tech training.
It does look
and
like
if you want to see the
wall,
latest and greatest videos that
there
we
has been
your Miami
upgraded.
trainers have created.
Flooring, though,
you can find that right here
at
under
the bottom,
at
least within the shower. We can double check that, but this does look like a
all right. Okay,
so
mid to
this is
possibly
the
a
Matrix series.
Again, the third
for
class
this bathroom.
You can find all Matrix
there
series
is two
videos
bathrooms
located
we do
here
have
under
to
the
check
MLS series.
the other bathrooms.
I just want to go ahead and put that in the chat
back in
so that everyone has access
to
to
the photos. We're going
to
go to the next one.
Okay, so without further ado, guys, what we're going to go ahead and do is
Again,
jump
I don't
into
see any
the
modifications
MLS
so far. It looks like just
so
a
that we
standard
can begin
resale.
creating
Flooring looks like it has
a
been
statistical
modified
reports,
or
but more importantly,
changed. I
also
actually do
that
see some
CMA
creasing there.
All right, so
on the tiling.
we're going to go into the MLS and we're going
going
to pretend that we're
All right,
working
we have
in
another
this scenario
bathroom.
within
As we
this
can
little
see
workshop that we're doing
from the outside.
that we're working directly with a buyer.
And
we're also
we
want to come up with that
I don't see any upgrades
purchase
there.
price.
So far, we're going to
count
a price
the
directly
possible
for
modifications
to the property.
They're interested in buying
some
the following
modifications
property.
to the kitchen. Again, we're going to double
located
check that
in the Cutler Bay area.
I do see at least one of
it
the
is a
bathrooms
3-bedroom,
has
2-bathroom
been, upgraded.
Property.
Okay.
The square footage for the living area is
All right.
1,394.
Yeah, I don't see any improvements here.
Adjusted square footage is 1,583.
Need to figure out that patio.
And the
Again,
total
so far,
square
looks like a
footage
standard resale.
is
Garage,
1,685.
improvements
All
there.
right. Recommend a
I
purchase
just want to
price.
quickly just go over
not a
the
set
meaning
number
of
but a
living area adjusted in
range
total square feet, just in
for
case
our
you
buyer
don't know
when
those.
they want to submit a
Living
purchase
area
offer.
when it comes to a property. Living area is going to be everything under
so without
the air
further
conditioning
ado,
space.
guys, we're going to go ahead and get
property.
started. Again, this
Total
is the
square
Matrix
footage is a
301.
combination of everything
As I said,
under
it
air
is the
conditioning
most
and
dense
anything that's
matrix
not,
class
such as
that
an
we
enclosed
offer,
patio
and
a garage space.
resources.
That's going to
come into
everything
place
within
so
the
we
structure.
have a good understanding of
the total
how
square
we can
footage.
watch this again.
And then we have adjusted square feet. Just want to cover that.
I'm going to go ahead and cover
again.
real quick.
That is
where you
a
can find all of
measurement
our training material,
here in South
including
Florida
all of our
for tax purposes.
videos.
In other words,
so
adjusted
if you're on the main
square foot
website,
is not recognized
miamirealtors.com,
by
we have a section
anywhere
where it says
else
education.
outside of South Florida. I'm going to give you a link.
Do not worry about that part.
Realtor.com.
But you come to education.
They do not display the
You're going to go down to tech training.
What is it?
And if you want to see the latest and greatest videos that we
of a
your
property
Miami trainers have
plus
created.
a third of
you
any
can find that right
enclosed
here
space,
under the in-depth
such as the
tech
garage.
series.
Just wanted to go over that. Okay.
All right.
And
okay. So
price per square
this
feet.
is the
Matrix
Matrix series.
calculate
Again,
that.
the third class.
I'm going to explain this twice.
You can find all Matrix series
price per
videos
square
located
feet
here under
is
the MLS series.
The asking price.
I just want to go ahead and put that in the chat.
For example, this one's
that everyone has
$510,000, or it could be the sold
All
price. If it's
Okay.
if
So
we're looking
without
at price
further
per
ado,
square
guys,
feet
what
based
we're
on
going to go
what's
and do is
sold.
jump into the
Again,
MLS
it's the asking price or the
so that we can
or the
begin
sold price
creating
divided by the
a statistical
living
reports,
area.
but
That
more
is how we
importantly, also
calculate
that
price
CMA.
per square footage.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to keep going.
We're going to go into
guys.
the MLS.
We're going to go ahead and analyze this property.
that
Again,
we're
it is
working
a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property,
this
single
little
family
workshop
home,
that we're doing.
a 3-bedroom,
that we're working
2-bathroom,
directly
and
with
it
a
is,
buyer.
as we can see here, one
And
story.
we want to come up with that.
This is the property that our
purchase
buyer wants.
price. Again, that
It's
range
got pretty good
of a
curb appeal.
price.
I don't see any modifications as
So,
far as the roof.
They're interested in buying the following
We're going to try to go through the property. It does look like a smaller property. That's why I selected it.
It is a
And
3-bedroom,
2-bathroom.
We're going to try to find comps
property.
here.
We're going
The
to keep
square
going
footage
through
for the
it.
living area is
Again, another great photo of the
1,394.
entryway.
Adjusted square footage
Right.
is 1,583.
Officially within the
and the
main
total
living space.
square
It looks
footage
like
is
I don't see any modifications as far as to the property.
I just want to quickly just go over
it's been remodeled.
meaning
I'm not even sure if it's been
adjusted
repainted,
in total square feet,
but
just in case you don't know
looking at
those.
a door that may have been installed
Living area,
recently.
when it
We
comes
can
to a
double
property,
check that.
living area is going to be everything under the
We're
air
gonna go through the
conditioning
property
space
a little bit
in the
more.
property.
Looks like this might be the
Total
dining
square footage
area
is a
here,
combination
or
of
more
everything
the
under air
front
conditioning
living room.
and anything
But
that's
again,
not,
I don't
such as
see
an
any
enclosed
upgrades
patio,
or
a
modifications,
garage
at least not
space.
yet, to
That's
the
going to be
property. I don't see
everything
any
within the
improvements
structure,
or upgrades.
the total square footage.
I'm going to keep going through
And
the
then
property.
we have adjusted square
We
feet.
have a
Just
beautiful
want to
little
cover that real
archway
quick
here
again.
into the
That
main
is a
living quarters.
local measurement.
All right, we have
here in
officially
South
entered the
Florida
kitchen
for
area.
tax
Okay,
purposes.
kitchen
In other words, adjusted
might have
square
been
foot is not
upgraded.
recognized
I don't see
by
it as far as a significant
anywhere
upgrade
else outside
the
of South Florida,
countertops don't look
including
necessarily
for
recently
example,
upgraded.
realtor.com, Zillow,
Possibly the
Trulia. They do
cabinetry.
not display the
When
adjusted
in
square
doubt,
footage.
but what
We can
is
of
it?
course check
Adjusted
the
square foot
remarks.
is the living
double check the
area
description
of a property,
how the agent's
plus a
describing
third
it,
of
but
any
this looks so
enclosed
far
space,
like a standard
such
resale
as the
with
garage.
minimum
Just wanted to
improvements
go over
kitchen.
that.
I'm not
Okay.
seeing
And
too many
price per
modifications.
square feet.
Okay.
If you don't know how to
We're gonna keep
calculate
going.
that, again, I'm going to explain this twice.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. I don't want to go too
Price
fast.
per square feet
There's a
is
patio. I definitely do see that
the
there's a
asking
patio
price.
space on the outside.
For example, this one's
do want to know if that's an
510,000,
enclosed patio or not.
or it could be the sold price.
In particular,
if it's
because that
if
can
we're
go
looking at
towards
price per
the
square feet based on what's
overall
sold.
sale.
Again,
of
it's
the
the
property,
asking price,
making it
or
a higher sale
or
price.
the sold
We're going to
price.
double check that.
Divided by the
We're going to keep going.
living area. That is
Again,
how we
I don't see
calculate
too many improvements.
price per square footage.
Definitely need to check that
Okay,
outside.
so we're going to keep
Here we
going,
go.
guys.
We're in
We're going
one
to go
of
to
the
bathrooms.
analyze this
So
property.
it does
Again,
look
it
like
is a
this
3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, single
has
family
been
home.
upgraded.
I definitely do see that there is a
and it is a
brand
new
we can see
faucet,
here,
as we can see.
story. It does look like
All right, this is
also
the property that our
wall,
buyer wants.
There
It's
has
got
been
pretty good
upgraded.
curb appeal.
Flooring, though,
I don't see any modifications as far
at
as
the bottom,
roof,
at least within the
not
shower.
recent.
We can double check that, but
We're going to try to go through the property.
It does look like a
mid
smaller
to
property. That's
possibly
why I
a high
selected
range
it.
improvement
And that area,
for this
we're going to
bathroom.
try to find
but
comps here.
Again, there is
We're going to keep going
bathrooms
through
we
it.
do have to check.
Again, another great photo of the
bathrooms. So we're gonna go
entryway
ahead
and jump back in.
Right.
We are officially
the
within
photos.
the main living space.
We're
It
gonna
looks
go to
like
the next one.
I don't see
Okay,
any modifications
bedroom.
as far as to
Again,
the
I
property.
don't see any modifications so
Flooring
far.
looks
It
like
does
just
not
a
look like
standard
it's been
resale.
remodeled.
Flooring
I'm not
looks
even
like
sure
it
if it's been
hasn't been
repainted,
modified
but
or changed.
I'm looking
I
at a
actually do
door
see
that
some
may have been installed
creasing there
recently
on the
tiling.
We can double check that. We're going to keep going through.
We're going to go through the
All
property
right,
a little
we have
bit
another
more.
bathroom.
Looks like this might be the
As we can
dining
see
area here.
From the outside, I don't see any modifications there. But again, I don't see any upgrades or modifications, at least not yet,
the upgrades there
to the property.
So far,
we're going to count
improvements or
the
upgrades.
possible modifications.
Keep
to
going through the
property. There might be some
beautiful little
modifications to the
archway
kitchen
here.
Again, we're going to
into
double
the
check that
main
remarks.
living quarters.
I do see at least
All right,
one
we've
of the
officially
bathrooms
entered the kitchen
has
area.
been
Okay,
kitchen might have been upgraded.
Going.
I don't see it as far as a
I don't see any
significant
improvements
upgrade
here.
The countertops
Don't
still
look
need to figure out that
necessarily
patio.
recently
Again,
upgraded.
so far, everything looks like a standard
Possibly the
resale.
cabinetry.
Okay, garage.
When
When
in
in
doubt,
improvements there. All right, not an enclosed patio. That is absolutely interesting, but it could become modified for enclosed for the buyer. So again, let's recap. Kitchen possible, moderate upgrades as far as the cabinetry. We can double check that. One improvement there in the bathroom. The other bathroom has not been upgraded. Okay. Now we're going to keep going. Good size there on the lot. Does look great. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right. Again, my opinion, this looks like a standard resale with moderate improvements. But again, when in doubt, always come down to this section here where you see remarks. This is going to tell us if there's been any modifications or upgrades. Right here, one single story, single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1-car garage, kitchen with granite countertops, not necessarily mentioning that it was a recent modification. Stainless steel appliances, hardwood kitchen cabinets, and beautiful patio. Home in sought after, golf cart friendly. That it is. Color pay, tile floor, washer, dryer. Where are my upgrades? I don't see them mentioning that. Okay, yeah. Let's go down to the broker remarks though. Finally vacant. Okay, so it was used as a income property, meaning the owner did not live there. They were using it for a rental. Our preferred lender is offering. Okay, let's keep going to share lender. Yeah, they're not even mentioning if there's been any recent upgrades or modifications. The other thing you always want to do when you're looking at a listing is look at the design description. Sometimes they will mention if there was any part of the property that was upgraded. They're only mentioning under that field that it is a attached 1-story property. Here's the thing though, attached means that it would be attached to another unit. This is not attached to another unit. This is a standalone single family home. That is something I want to make sure I correct there. All right, but again, I'm looking through this listing, looking through what's included. Yeah, I don't see necessarily any improvements. So again, what we're going to do, we're going to treat this like a scenario. We're going to go through the preliminary checks. We know that we have a buyer. They're interested in submitting an offer on the property. What we're going to do is we're going to jump directly into the stats so that we can get a good understanding of this market so we can figure out if this unit is fairly priced. Okay, so that's next. We're going to go into Matrix, and then we're going to click right here where you see stats. Stats. Okay. Now, one thing I want to make sure I mention, we have access to different statistical reports that we automatically get through the system, but some of them you do not want to overly customize and set certain information, for example, into the price. So I'm going to go through these and I'm going to give you guys recommendations on when you should supply more information or when you should be a little loose based on the terms. Okay. So again, we've clicked on stats right here, and we're going to try to hyper focus on this local market here. Okay. So we get for free all of the system presets located here. But as I create maybe my own statistical reports, I can save those. I'm going to show you how to save them, and then they show up here under my presets. Okay, so we're going to come over here to the middle section where we can supply the neighborhood, the bedrooms and bathrooms, the style of property that we need statistical reports for. We're going to go here where you see property type, and our subject unit is a single family home. So I'm going to go here where you see property type. I'm going to click on single family. And then so that I do not pull up mobile homes in this neighborhood, we have one more step. So after we go to property type, we click on single family. We go here to type of property. And then we just want to double down and tell the system we just need data for single family homes, just single. Okay, we're going to hyper focus on this market. So we're going to put 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but we're going to be a little flexible on the bathrooms. We'll put 2 up to 3 bathrooms. All right. So again, so far, let's recap. Property type single family, type of property single, bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and then bathrooms, 2 to 3 baths. Okay. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can hyper focus on this market. We can enter, for example, the zip code if we want. I can come in here, put in the zip code, or if I want to hyper focus on maybe this development, meaning the community where this property is located, I can enter right here the name of that community located right here. Now, if I do that, if I go under subdivision name and I input the name of that community, there should be enough data. There should be enough supply of listings for that community in order for the system to create meaningful reports. So sometimes just entering, for example, the zip code of that neighborhood and then a price range for that market, that should be more or less sufficient. Okay, we're going to keep this a little bit loose. We're just going to, for now, we'll put a price in here in a little bit. We're going to go to zip code, put in the zip code of where this property is located, 33189. And again, we're going to hyper analyze this market. We're going to go to the very first preset called ADOM versus list price median. What does that mean? This is going to give me the average days on the market. So if I'm working directly with a buyer, right, or a seller, we always want to make sure that we tell them how long it's taking for properties to sell, or in this case, how long they are remaining on the market. So again, ADOM means the average days on the market for properties still listed in that area versus the median price. Again, median means the middle of the market. So if I do not supply a price range, for example, Cutler Bay, the more you get towards the water, you're going to have a lot more luxury units priced at $1 million, $2 million in that area. So if you want to hyper focus on that local market, right, and get the median price for that style of property, that's where you kind of want to enter a price range. Okay.
But if I do not enter a price range, median, one more time, is going to focus on the price of units in the middle of the market. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on ADOM versus list price median, and then I'm going to click on generate. And then what this report does is it will automatically give me the latest and greatest information as of right now, all the way back to, as you can see, 2020. So it does go back 5 years. The green line is going to give us a frequency on the average days to sell. Again, we have that metric located here on the left. And then we have the list price median, meaning the middle of the market for this zip code, going all the way back since 2020, all the way through now. Now, if we look at the most recent information, it looks like we hit a ceiling. I'm just going to hover my mouse over the report and let go. If I do that, it will give me a data point, meaning this is an interactive report that will give me numbers. So it's letting me know we kind of capped in this market back in December of 2024. The middle price of homes in this zip code was 624,500, but it's gone down. But we did have a peak a little bit here. We just hover my mouse, let go. Looks like in April at 610,000, but we're already kind of seeing a little bit of a dip since that time. The other thing I want to make sure I mention, all these reports are different. This one goes back 5 years. If I go into my search and then enter a price range on this report, remember, it goes back 5 years. So if I come in here and I put in the price range, I like to teach as a troubleshooter, guys. If I come in here and put in a price range for this report, 450,000 up to 550,000, and then I click on generate, I get a break in the data. Notice that the data stops, as you can see. Why am I mentioning this? We never want to provide a report to our customer where the data is not completed from start to end. A, and B, we can clearly see before 2021, homes in this market for a 3-bedroom, 2 up to 3 bathrooms, they were not priced that high before 2021. So if I'm trying to maybe show this report to my customer based on the current market price, meaning the market conditions right now for this area, what I would want to do is customize the report where I can change the time frame to more recent data. So I can go to time frame, and if I want to hyper focus on just this year, I have year to date. That's going to give me from January through right now, May. I can't believe we're almost halfway done with this year. If I want to go back maybe 12 months, meaning right now through May of last year, I have past 12 months. If I just want to hyper focus on any previous year, I have 2024 all the way down to 2019. But again, as we can see, this report, as soon as we click on generate, it goes back 5 years. But again, we never want to provide our customer with an incomplete report. So realistically, if I want to go as far back as I can based on this price metric, somewhere around May 2021 is as far back as I would want to go so that it completes. Otherwise, I could just show that customer the latest and greatest information by going to time frame, going to year to date, click on generate, and then that's what our customer wants anyway. They only care about right now as far as the current market conditions. So again, you can go to customize and then enter the time frame that you want. Another thing that you can do is there's a custom option here where if I only want to maybe show my customer maybe the past couple of months, for example, April of this year through, for example, right now, maybe the past couple of months, you can customize that under custom. click on generate, and then that will just show me if we're seeing a trajectory change, at least within the past, for example, 2 months. So it is letting me know here from April through May, we are starting to see that the market's going up a little bit when it comes to the days to sell. It's gone up a little bit from 15 up to just above 20 days. But the price, this is what I wanted to show you, prices have maintained themselves fairly the same on average. Let me just hover my mouse here, May 550, and we are currently seeing, as of right now, just have to be patient. There you go. Kind of fairly maintained itself. So again, this is the chart perspective. If you just want to see raw numbers, most of us are data oriented. If you just want to see the numbers, you can go to data, and then data will just show you the raw numbers. So if I'm working with a buyer, right, or a seller, I can let them know, hey, I have the data here. This is a fast moving market. April, the average days to sell was only 16 days with a list price median of 524,000. May, 22 days to sell with a list price median of 550,000, as we can see. Again, that is the asking price. List price refers to the asking price, not the sold price. But we can see and set that expectation with our customer that this is a rapid moving market for prices, for homes priced between 450 up to 550,000. Homes are moving fairly quick. But again, always keep in mind, sometimes oversupplying the report with too much information can kind of skew it. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove that price range, go back to generate data, just to double check. Okay, so we did pick up more listings when I did that. But look, again, not too much of a change to the days to sell. Again, this is a fast moving market. This is, again, how I can set that expectation with my customer. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to click on presets. The next one that I'm going to cover is the historic count of active listings. If I'm working directly with a customer, this is going to allow me to show them the amount of inventory as far as their competition. So again, historic count of active listings is going to let me know how many properties are still on the market that haven't received yet an offer. So under data, it's letting me know as of January, we have 23 listings. February, 27, March, 26th, April, 31. If I have a hesitant seller that says, hey, I don't know if I want to sell my property yet, I can always let them know. Compared to last year, there is a little bit of more competition in your area. We're trending it, as I can see here, February, 27 versus 16 from the previous year, 26 versus 20 from the previous year, and then April, 31 compared to 27 from the previous year. So the goal in this logic, when it comes to the fact that we're seeing more inventory for this community, I mean, for the zip code, I should say, this would be my talking point with the customer to say, let's get that price right. What if we list that property in the MLS? Let's make sure that we list it somewhere at market value, because compared to last year, I'm seeing an uptick in the amount of inventory. There's more properties for sale in the zip code. All right. Now, this next one, it says it right here, historic sales by year. By year. And this one goes back since 2019. But it gives me the amount of sales. That's going to be the metric located here on the left. And then that, again, breaks it down year by year, as we can see. The other option, of course, is to click on data. Data is going to give me just the raw numbers, the total amount of sales that are happening each month. But this report is set to give me the previous year through 2019. How, if I'm working directly with maybe a buyer or seller, how can I show them the amount of sales that is happening in this area for this year? How can I show them 2025? We go over here on the left, again, where we see customize. And then I change my time frame. So again, it's showing previous year. I could go to time frame, change that. Again, if I only want to hyper focus on what's happening this year, I have year to date. I have my custom range if I want to just show maybe the past 3 months. But if I want to see a total amount of sales within the past 12 months, I have this option where I can click on generate. And then that's going to just show me from May through June of last year. All right. So again, this batches the amount of sales for a single family home that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom up to 3 bathrooms property. And it's letting me know we did have a dip here a little bit in April, 2 sales, May trending at 7, March 9, February 5. This is great information to let my customer know there are properties in this area that are selling. Okay, we're going to keep going. This next one, it's called historic sales price trend, but I want to make sure I mention this one will give you an average price, not the middle of the market like the median statistical report. Trend, though, is going to give us an average. So what I would do with this one is go back to search, and I kind of want to look at properties in this area, and I want to expand the price range because my unit that we're looking at has had minimal improvements. Keep in mind, units that have had improvements, they're going to be probably listed a little bit higher than this one, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look as low as, kind of like what we did earlier, as low as 450. And just in case there's units in this area that have had improvements, let's go up to 550. Okay. So that's going to give me an average sale price once I enter the price metric. So we're going to go ahead and click on generate. All right. And this one, as you can see, what's going on here? The data kind of breaks as of 2021 because, again, in this market, that price homes were not priced that high. So again, we would want to go to customize, time frame, and then hyper focus on our current period. So we're going to click on past 12 months, generate, and then whenever you see, one more time, whenever you see a break in data, it's letting me know right here from October through December, it doesn't have sales, again, between that price range. So I want to repeat something one more time. Sometimes putting in information into your fields can kind of skew the report. Just want to make sure I mention that. Okay, we're going to go back to chart though. I'm going to click on data, and I don't have a break from December through now, meaning this, we do have recorded sales. We had inventory, for example, in November, we had a total amount of 10 active listings, but no buyers, which is typical during the holiday season. We did, though, in December because you have a lot of folks moving from out of state, out of country, trying to get their kids into the next semester. We do have 7 active listings. We do have a sale price, though, in that area at $519,000. So we're going to move down real quick. March, 10 active listings. Average sale price in this area is $517. Not too far off of what they're asking for this unit. April, 8 active listings. Price point at $515. May did go up. We're starting to see a little bit of higher sale price here in this area. May, 8 active listings, average sale price of $550,000. Again, just hyper focused on this micro market in that zip code of 33189. We're going to click on presets. Again, that is the historic sales by price trend. Okay, we're going to keep going. The next one, I'm going to skip this one for now. We'll try to come back on it. All this does is it groups all the sales based on how much they sold for. This one, you do not want to enter a price range. I'll just show it real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and show it. All right, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to click on historic sale price by price range, generate. Again, this one, you don't want to put in a price. What it just does is it batches all the sales based on how much they sold for. So for example, purple line is going to be 2025, blue line is going to be for 2024, and then green line is going to be for 2023. It just gives us the total amount of properties that have sold within a price range. So for example, this area is dominated for properties listed between 500 and 600,000. There was 13 recorded sales. Homes priced between 600 to 700,000. We had 8 units priced between 700 to 800,000 in the zip code, only 2. So how I like to position this report, I just want to go ahead and just mention it. How I like to position this report is if you're ever working with an investor, maybe a buyer in particular, right? Investors in specific, what they like to do is find an area This is a great report for an investor to figure out if there's a bottom end of the market where they might be able to find, as I call it, steals and deals. So I can see here for 2025, there was a couple of sales. If I hover my mouse, only one. It's letting me know at the lowest end of this market, there's only been one recorded sale between the price of 400 to 450,000. If there's more, I'm saying, for example, maybe four or five at that price range, it would indicate to me in this zip code that we might be able to find steals and deals, meaning properties listed beneath the market price. For example, fixer upper style property in specific. That's how I like to try to convey this historic sales by price range. But again, without doing that, what it does is it just lets me know how many properties are selling, again, within a specific price. Okay. This next one is, as I call it, the jail get out of jail free card. If you ever have that buyer, right, or investor that says, and especially if they're out of state, because they'll ask you this, what is the average price per square foot? For example, a single family home that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property in whatever city or whatever zip code. This is what this one does: list price by square feet ratios. I click on generate, and then automatically the system will calculate going back from January 2020 through January 2025. It'll give me that average list price. But if I go to data, I just get the raw numbers, as you can see. It's letting me know January price per square feet trended at 372. We went up to 406 in February, March 419, April went down a little bit at 409. Again, this is based on the list price, not sold price, list price by square footage, meaning the asking price of the seller. Okay. As I mentioned, when you pull up a sold property, you take the sold price, divide by the living area. That is how we get the average price per square feet for sold. All right. We're going to go to this next one because this one is the same as this. These two are the same. We're going to move now into another one of my favorites. This is called the original price versus sold price. What this does is if I'm working with a customer, this I'm not saying it will, but it can let me know if there's a wiggle room on a purchase offer. So again, what it does is it's going to show me the original asking price of the seller versus what the buyer in this market, what they ultimately paid. Okay, so again, asking for this unit's 510. We're going to run the statistical report. All right, and I just like the data for this one. Let's look at the latest and greatest. Go down to March. Original price of sellers on average, $624,999. Sell price was $589,000. But again, always check your metrics. We did remove that price range. We're going to add that back real quick just to hyper focus on this market for this property. All right, so again, I went back to search. I'm going to put in that price range. Click back on original price versus sold price. Generate, just to hyper focus on the data points for this market. There you go. The data is a little bit better for me to understand. So if I go down, right, March trending, original price 549, buyers ultimately paid 517. April price went down, original asking price on average 524. So we had a deduction of about 20,000 for within 30 days. And then right here, we're seeing a stable market in this area. Buyers ultimately paid 2,000 less at 515. And then May's not done yet. So it's letting me know so far we're trending original price 550, sale price 550. Again, when you're looking at the same month, just remember, and I say this also because I used to work in the MLS department, agents, they do sometimes take a little bit in order to update their listings when they're sold. I would say when you're looking at the same month, wait until at least the second week of that incoming month in order to get a good understanding of the metrics. But from what I'm seeing, what I'm seeing here is, yes, sellers do have their original price here, but it looks like there could be a little bit of some wiggle room here on a potential purchase offer, just based on the, again, original price versus the sale price on average. Okay, again, I love this. This is great for buyers. And then we also have the next one, which is great for sellers, the sell price versus list price ratios. What this does is it's going to put a percentage on how closely homeowners got to their asking price. January, they had to concede a little bit at 95% on average. Again, close price versus list price. February, homeowners got 100% of what they were asking. March, 96.3%. April, 98.1%. There's a couple of different ways that you can convey this information to your seller. Again, not just this report, but also the previous report. It's all about getting that property listed at market value. So we can let them know, hey, homeowners are getting, more or less what they're asking. March, they did have to concede a little bit at 96%. Again, this is why it's crucial when we're having that discussion with our customer, especially seller, getting that price right. All right. Again, this is based on always the metrics going to appear here at the top, close price to list price ratios. And if you ever, any of the reports that we went over, if you ever want to share these reports directly to your customer, there's a couple of ways to do so. You have the export as CSV. This is going to allow you to download the report directly as a CSV file. It's going to put everything into columns and where we can access it. And if you ever want to email it, let me just bring this down. Actually, I can't because I'm mirroring. All right. But yeah, that's how you download it to export. But if you ever want to maybe, for example, you have a customer coming into your office. Maybe they want to sell their property, right? Or you're using any of these to convey directly to your buyer why they should work directly with you, right? There's a couple of ways that you can present this information electronically or printing it out. We have the print button located right here. That's going to allow you to print it. Let me go ahead and clear that real quick. There you go. Print. What that does, want to make sure I mention one more time, print will automatically show me the report, the data. And if I ever want to include just the raw numbers so I can speak to the information with my customer there, I get both the chart and the numbers within the report. And if I want to download it, send it via PDF or have that a part of maybe my listing presentation, I can click on print and then that's going to let me download it as a PDF. All right. The reason why I'm not clicking on it is for the model of Mac that I have, there's this weird thing where it logs me out. But if you click on print, you can download it as a PDF and then, of course, attach that to an email or have that readily available with you when you're discussing it directly with your customer. Again, highlights. I like to always mention the original price versus sold price, great for a buyer. Sold price by list price ratio is great for a seller. And then we can always have the system calculate their price per square feet using the list price square feet ratios. And if I want the trend of prices for a given area, I have the historic sales price trend. If I want to know the days to sell, if I'm working with the customer, let them know, hey, is this a fast moving market, slow moving market? Another one of my favorites is the ADOM versus list price median. Okay, perfect. So we are getting a good understanding of this market. This property looks like so far it's priced fairly well at $510,000, and we do see that buyers are paying a little bit less than asking, so we have a little bit of some wiggle room. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to run a comparable on this unit. We're going to first run the comparable using the let's go ahead and use IMAP. We'll go ahead and jump into IMAP. So if you're following along, you're going to put the listing number here in the top of your browser. Just zoom that in real quick so you guys can see it. The listing number, I'll go ahead and put in the chat just in case I have anyone following along. It is A as in Alpha 11611-256. Again, A as in Alpha 11611-256. All right. And then once you type it in, you just click on the search bar. And then that's going to take you to your grid. And then just click on that listing number. Okay. Perfect. So what we're going to go ahead and do, as I mentioned, we're going to run a comparative market analysis on this unit using the IMAP system. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go directly into IMAP. How can you jump into IMAP when you're looking at a listing in Matrix? There's a couple of ways to do that. You have the IMAP button here in the top left corner, or you can always click on the folio number. That's going to put you directly into the information that the IMAP system has compiled directly from the property appraiser. All right. And as I mentioned in the 201, I can also see if there's any violations on the property, permit requests to modify the property, and I can see if they have a rental license as well. That's also something I want to make sure we try to double check. Again, that's based on if it's required by the municipality. Some cities are different, so I want to make sure I mention that. All right, so let's go ahead and do a quick little breakdown here of the property information page for this unit. So I get the PID, also known as the property identifier, which is the folio number of the unit. I'm getting the address of the unit as well as the owners. I get the tax mailing address, which is the same. Oh no, it's actually different than the property address. So this is indeed a rental unit. As we can see, they do not live there. When the tax mailing address is different than the property address, it means they don't live there. Okay. As I move down, we have the style of property. It is a single family cluster style home. We get the lot size, which is 4,080. And I get to know if this unit is indeed waterfront or not. Always double check when you're working with the seller. This is going to let you know if the property is indeed waterfront or not. I get the name of the community, as well as the census tract block, the coordinates of where this property is located. Again, not coordinates are not necessary when it comes to residential or commercial property, but coordinates are great if you're ever working land deals. That's always important so you could figure out how to get to that piece of land. We do have the legal description coming directly from the county as well. Now, if you're following along, the other thing I want to make sure I mention is if you're following along with me and you're missing anything that I'm going over, go here where you see show reports and then make sure that you have all of these check marked. Otherwise, you're not going to see some of the information that I discuss. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you real quick is it's always good if we're working with a buyer or an investor, it's always good to know an estimation. All right. It's always good to know an estimation on what's remaining on the loan. That's very important. And how much equity that they have. So this is one of the new features in IMAP. We have a valuation analysis. That's going to show me how much IMAP believes that the unit's worth. It's coming back at 456. I get an estimation based on the remaining loan balance. It's always good to know. Again, the seller net proceeds, how much they're going to get out of it, the available equity, the established equity as well. And we can always see the type of loan that they have as well, when they started it and when it is set to end. Okay. But we're going to go back where we started. We're going to go here where you see property tax. Again, that puts me right back where I was, where I can see all of the information that the county tax has on this unit. As I move down, I can also see the value information here. This is going to include the building value from the county record, how much the land is currently being valued, the just market value, and then this is going to give me the gross totable assessable value, meaning how much the property is worth according to taxes. And further down, we can also see if this is a homestead exempt property. It was up until 2022. It looks like the owners left the unit back in 2023, so it did lose that special tax. We get also the taxable value of the property and then the ad valorem taxes as well. Okay. We also, without having to necessarily click on the valuation analysis, we do get that estimated current value as well without having to click on it. I mean, how much IMAP believes it's worth, and then an estimation on the equity. Now, as I move down, this section in IMAP is going to show me when this property has changed hands according to the county record. So we do have, as we can see here, when the owner originally purchased this unit right here, back in 1996 for the price of 105. And then if I move down, I can get some additional information under building information. This is going to show me the bedrooms and bathrooms. The legal, I want to be very clear, the legal, meaning what the county has for the unit. So it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. They did list it as a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I get the square footage as well. All right. And this is new. I can see, and I say this nicely, I can see a history of any kind of code violations on the property. I can also see if they have a rental license as well, and if they've ever filed permits to modify the property. All right, so right here it's letting me know there was an issue back in 2014. It does look like an animal cruelty scenario, and it was a fairly severe issue. I get the case number as well. And you can, if you ever want to, you could take that case number and, of course, go to the county record to see if it is an opened or closed case. Now, more recent code violations, I am seeing an IMAP from at least 2020 all the way up to now. They do generally show me if they are open or closed cases. Now, I do see here the owner, the previous owner looks like back in 1995, they did install a burglar alarm, as we can see, but I don't see any permit requests since that time. Again, this is great information, guys. Even if you've been with us for a while or you're new, we used to have to know the permit number or the case number, go to the county record in order to find it. This is automatically being aggregated for us into the IMAP property record for us. Again, that is amazing. The other thing we get is the assigned schools there, and it will let me know if this property is in a flood zone. This property is, according to FEMA, in a flood zone AE, meaning there's a 1% chance that this property would encounter a flood at roughly around 10 feet, as we can see. If you ever want to look up all the different FEMA codes, you can do so by going right here. How to request a map change right here. Okay, now what we're here to do, though, we're going to go ahead and run a CMA. We're going to click on the Find Comparables button. We're going to click on Find Comparables. And we're going to ultimately use both IMAP and Matrix. Why? Why are we going to do that? I want to make sure I explain it. IMAP is only going to give me, and it's still good, it's going to give me units that have been reported as sold directly to the county. Meaning IMAP's not going to give me active listings that haven't got an offer yet. It's not going to give me active listings, anything under contract either. Matrix will give me properties, though, that were reported as sold in the MLS. IMAP is going to give me a combination of properties that have sold with a realtor and for sale by owners. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run that CMA now. If you're following along and your numbers are a little bit different than mine, do not worry. Go here where you see comparison criteria. I'm going to provide you with some filters, some recommendations when you run your CMA. Okay, so we're going to try to treat this like an appraiser. All right, we're going to look at units that are similar to this property that are no more than 20% bigger or 20% smaller based on the lot square footage and then the living square footage. So again, go to your lot size, change that to plus or minus 20%. Do the same thing for the living area, make that plus or minus 20% as well. Why do we recommend that? Again, that's the metric that appraisers use in particular. And the other thing is, if anyone was to step into the comps that we're coming back with, they're not going to feel the difference in size. However, we're not going to go out half a mile first. We're going to change that to in same subdivision, meaning in that same community. And let's go ahead and see if there's been any recent solds in the past 3 months. Okay. The other thing to do is go here. Use best available all sources. Open this up. I want to say it automatically does just MLS sales, but change that to YAST best available all sources. That's going to include anything listed that was sold with a realtor and anything that's sold without a realtor, such as a for sale by owner. Okay. So again, let's recap. Lot size, living square footage, make those two plus or minus 20%. We're first going to search in that same community, and we're going to go back 3 months. All right. And we're going to use all best available data that we have access to. And let's not ignore bedrooms. Let's go ahead and click on same number of bedrooms. So I did make another move. We're going to go to same number of bedrooms. Okay. From there, let's go ahead and update the criteria, and that's going to let me know if there's been any recent sales. Again, within the past 3 months for units that have the same number of bedrooms. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Okay. Now, here's what's interesting about all three of these sales. I was hoping to find a FISBO. This community is dominated by realtors. And whenever we want to run a comparable, we just need three comparables. Okay. So again, whenever I see this R logo right here, it means that the property sold in the MLS. It was listed. And typically when properties sell with a realtor, they sell at a higher price. That's one thing. The other reason why this is important is if I ever run across a sale, let me just go back 6 months just to prove something real quick. Let me go back a little bit farther back in time. Oh no, this is a realtor dominated community. I can't even find it for sale by owner here. Whew. Hold on. Let me get out of the community a little bit. Let me just change some of these real quick. Don't worry. We're going to go back. I'm going to tell you what to change back. I just want to prove a point here. Just give me 1 second. Located within half of a mile, sold in the last 3 months, update. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and put back in same subdivision. Let's go back 6 months. Okay, let's just update that real quick. Okay. Yeah, this is truly an area dominated by agents, as we can see. But if you don't see, okay, if you do not see the R logo, like here for these, we don't see the R logo. It means it was a for sale by owner. I was just trying to find one where it doesn't have the R logo. These are all recorded in the MLS. Okay, but let's not go back 6 months because of the volatility of the market. Let's only go back 3 months. Update the criteria so we just have those most recent sales. Okay, I'm going to break this down so we understand all of the information that we have here. Okay, so right here, this metric right here, this is going to be the estimated range based on the value ratio. This is based on the market value of properties in the area, aka their assessed value according to taxes, not the value of how much they're worth according to the market, meaning how much buyers are paying. But this is still important to know. I'm going to explain why it's important once I explain the market value ratio. This is the metric right here that we want to focus on when we're creating the CMA and IMAT. It's letting me know based on trends in the area, meaning property selling in the area. It believes at the lowest end that this unit would be worth $484,000. It's fairly confident that this unit would be worth about $492,000 or up to $503,000. So it does look like the property might be, and I'm not saying it is grossly overpriced. Remember, we went into stats. We did see that properties are selling less than asking, right? Okay, let me go back. It is letting me know that at that cap end properties, it believes that this unit, I should say, is worth about 503,000. Okay. If you ever want a second opinion, a rapid second opinion, let me be more specific. Under your external links, you can pull up this property in RPR. Just wanted to show this real quick. You can go directly into RPR, and then RPR, as long as you signed into your account, it will give you an estimation on how much they believe that the property is worth. So this is called an RVM, which is a realtor valuation module, not an AVM. AVMs are a little bit different. RVM is including on-market properties, meaning what is still available and what's under contract, versus AVM is just going to give me an estimated value for what has sold. Okay, but it's giving me a little bit of a range. It's letting me know that at the lowest end, according to this system, it's priced at 444,000 or up to 532,000. But we have a 5-star rating, meaning RPR is 80% sure or higher that they believe that this is the price of the property. All right, and it's very good. I'm not going to kid with you guys. RVM is very, very accurate. I've had brokers tell me in the past that this is extremely accurate when it comes to an asking price. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of a feel here regarding maybe a range as far as an offer. But we're going to keep going, guys.
what we're going to go ahead and hyperanalyze is the data that's coming back. So the property that sold at the highest is number 3. It sold at 515,000. As we can see, again, 515,000. And what I get out of this is I get the market value at 434,000, sold at 515,000. So something I need to make sure I tell you. Again, market value means the assessed value. Assessed values can change once a property is recorded as sold to the county if it's sold with improvements. I want to repeat that. An assessed value can go up if the property sells and there was a lot of improvements, meaning they modified maybe the kitchen area, bathrooms, floors. That can impact this value. Okay, we're going to come over here to where you see MV ratio so you have a good understanding of how this works. Okay, so again, sale price 515, assessed value for this unit 434,000. Okay, I'm going to click on the question mark. What that does is it's going to tell me something that's really important, especially if I'm looking at a for sale by owner comp. It's letting me know the market value ratio is calculated taking into account sale price, sold price, and market value for that county. Sale price, market value, an MV ratio of below 0.95 signifies that the property sold for less than the county's market value. And we just saw how wide that is for this property. A ratio of over 1.0 indicates it sold for more than the county would have indicated. A very high value ratio may indicate a property that has been split. For example, multifamily property that was split into maybe a duplex. And then when that happens, that usually can sell much higher than the previous use. Or improved, meaning they've done, like I said, some upgrades or improvements since the county assessor's office assigned the market value. So this is the important part. If I do not see that R logo, for a comp, it means it's sold as a for sale by owner. And typically at that point, I'm kind of at the mercy of the MV ratio. So again, anything over a 0.95 means that the property sold a little bit higher than its assessable value, which this one sure did. And at 1.4, this could indicate that the unit had improvements. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to this unit that sold at 515, and then I'm going to click specifically on the folio number. If I do that, what that does is it puts me directly into that unit's record, again, compiled by the county, by IMAP. And if I ever want to see the condition of this unit, because it was listed before, I can go right here where you see MLS listing information. And here's my point. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. Look at this unit. Look at all these improvements. That does not look like my kitchen, the one that we're trying to assess for our buyer. Great deal of modifications. I see a tremendous amount of changes, including the kitchen, bedroom, flooring. They've done almost everything. And the other thing is, this is important. This does look like it is a two-story, a unit. But again, here's my point right here. Beautifully remodeled 3-bedroom house complete with 2 bathrooms and 2-car garage, featuring impact windows, newer AC and water heater conveniently located in the community pool as well, community walking trail. Again, this is the point that I'm trying to stress, is always pay attention to the assessed value versus the sale price. If it's different, could indicate improvements, a great deal of maybe modifications to the property. Okay, perfect. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're not going to include that comp. I am going to remove that one, right? And then my price does fluctuate a little bit. We are going to go to number 2. This unit did sell at 495,000. And here's the beautiful part. It's not 2 stories. It's 1 story. Let's click on its folio number in order to see its comp. So I'm going to click on MLS listing information right here. And this kind of looks like my unit. I don't see any improvements. It is, again, 1 story. I think our property looks a little bit more modern, just to joke a little bit. See some carpet, and some vinyl. And here's the thing. This one has an enclosed patio. That's what's interesting about this unit. Okay.
So as I scroll down, if there is any improvements, they will certainly mention that here. The nice sized kitchen has stainless steel appliances. Okay, has a new roof. Nice. Central air conditioning. Okay, let's go down. Okay, little bit of some improvements. Looks like to the air conditioning and new roof. They're not letting us know when, but remember, I can try to figure out when they did it by going into property tax and then going and seeing if they filed a permit to modify it. I'm not coming back with a permit for them to change the roof. That's what's interesting there. So far, guys, we're coming back with a fairly decent comp. This one right here at 495,000. Minimal improvements, kind of similar to my unit. We can now look at the second one. The second one that sold kind of near this one at 494. Let's click on its folio number. Check out the photos. Okay. This one looks like my property. Again, similar flooring. I don't see any modifications. I can confirm that our cabinets were not upgraded. Looks like the same as my cabinets for the unit that we're looking at. Don't see any modifications within the bathrooms. This one does not have an enclosed patio as well. Keep going. All right. Remarks. Okay. New AC 2022, new roof 2022. Okay. Moderate upgrades. Okay. All right. So we're coming back with two comps. Let me go back real quick. It's letting me know that the system, once I remove that two-story, it's letting me know that it feels as though the property is worth about 486 or up to 488. Kind of similar to what RPR is saying. Again, very similar, almost on the money. Okay. What we're going to do now is, now that we checked recorded sales that have been reported directly to the county, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump directly into Matrix. And then we're going to check the active inventory. We're going to see what's listed, the asking price of what's still on the market in this area. We're going to also hyper focus on what's under contract and what has been recorded as sold. Okay. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and move this over. This is going to be very important as we go through this. We just close these out. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and go here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to hyper focus and find comps in this area. So when you're in Matrix, when you go to search, you click on the property type. We recommend using the little map search right up here where you can search around your subject property. So again, we're going to go here and put the address of this unit. Okay. So if you're following along, this is the part that I want to slow down. All right. Make sure you put in place. Otherwise, you're going to end up in the Kindle area. This is the correct address. We're going to use 21532 Southwest 88th Place, Cutler Bay, Florida, 33189. That is going to be our subject property right here. Again, that's going to be the same as this unit. So again, 21532. I'll do that again. Let's do that again. 21532 space Southwest 88th Place. And then it's going to show us the property, and then I'm going to click on it. We're first going to search within a quarter mile, which is what it automatically provides. Okay. We're going to pick up active listings. We're going to look at what's under contract in the area and what has closed, but not 6 months back. We're going to go back 90 days. So again, active, closed, 0-90, and then pending. Within a quarter of a mile, we're pulling so far 19 comps. But we're going to narrow this down a little bit. We're going to look at 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom property. Okay, that brought me down to 12. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select the exact type of property that this one is. There was no pool, so we're going to eliminate any pool properties there. First, we're going to click on single family. We're going to go to type of property, click on single. And then we're going to quickly eliminate any of the pool units there. We're going to go to RE1 SF pool, put no. All right, and we're looking at so far 7 matches. All right. And then we need to calculate kind of like what IMAP did. As you guys remember, IMAP did a lot of the legwork for me where all I had to do was click a button where it automatically found like property that were within a 20% size of my subject property. Matrix does not do that for me. So I have to do my calculation myself. So the living area for this unit is 1394. Again, 1,394. So again, IMAP did the work, the calculation for me. The matrix system does not, so I have to open up my calculator. Okay. What we need to do is figure out the percentage difference in size. So we're going to take the living area, which is 1,394, and then we're going to multiply that by 20%, 0.20. That's going to give me my range. So my range up and down, meaning I can add 278 towards the living area and then subtract. This is going to give me my range. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to enter that amount, 278, right up here. And then what we're going to do is find the lowest end of what we can find, which is 1,394 minus 278, meaning I should only look for units as small as 1,116 square feet. And then I think you guys understand what we're doing here. We're now going to find the cap, the highest end, which is going to be the living area for the subject unit, 1,394 plus 278, meaning I should find a unit that is no bigger than 1,672. Again, we're treating this like an appraiser. And when I do that, I'm coming back with 6 comps so far. Again, within a quarter mile of the subject property. What we're going to do next is we're going to continue to eliminate properties. We're going to move down. And then we're going to go to short sale. We're going to put no. Short sale, again, is a property where the homeowner contacted their lender and the lender may have approved for them to list the property based on the remaining mortgage balance. That is going to grossly affect my comp. And typically short sales and REOs, meaning bank-owned properties, they're not always in the best condition. And as I said in the 201, we realistically only want to include foreclosed or distressed properties if 30% of the properties coming back are under distress. We're not in that foreclosure market. So we're going to go ahead and remove those. The next is the design description. So this is a one-story property. I want to quickly eliminate any two-story units. Okay, so I'm coming back with now 6 matches. In IMAP, we also did a calculation on the lot size as well. If you want, you do have the ability to use the lot square footage, and then we could do that same exact calculation. For example, this unit's lot size is 4,080. I could do that 20% difference. But I want to show you an alternative method where we can just quickly find the units in the area and then eliminate anything that has a much larger lot size. So again, I can come here, do the calculation, but this time I just want to show you an alternative method. We're going to come over here now that we have more than a minimum of 3 comps. We have 6 that's available. We're going to go ahead and click on results, and we have several that are active. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are active. One of them is our subject unit. We're going to get rid of that one in just a moment. And then we have 2 that is under contract. Okay, so our subject unit is the 21532, and it's this one right here. So again, I'm treating this 301 like we're submitting an offer on the behalf of a buyer, right? So this is our subject unit that the buyer wants to submit an offer. We're going to remove this one. That's going to throw off my comp because that's the subject. So I'm going to go right here, refine, like we did in the 201, refine, and then I'm going to discard it because that's going to throw off my data, my numbers. But here's what's interesting, guys. We only have one round the price that we're coming back with, priced at $499. We do have one at $505, but we have several here that are a little bit higher, $524, $539, and one that's $515. And Always important to have your days on market. So we did add that in the 201, and always good to have the original price like we did in the 201. I can see if the homeowner has lowered their price. Does look like they're kind of, at least on these bottom two, they kind of know they overpriced it. They're starting to lower it, as we can see. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is move over, and then we're going to hyper analyze the lot size right here. So again, our subject unit was 4,080. So this is going to be where I can do that margin. Just going to do that calculation real quick. Again, 4,080 multiplied by 0.20. All right, 816. Okay. So that means that this unit needs to go. It's too small. These are not bad. We can keep these bottom two and these top two. This one, though, in the middle, that sold at 510. Ooh, which is the comp that we found in, or no, hold on, that's a different one. Okay, but that's a good asking price. We have to get rid of that one. So we're going to go ahead and click on the check mark here, and then we're going to go ahead and discard it, and then we're going to hyper analyze these three coming back. All right, the other thing you can do, I like to teach as not just showing you how to run the comps, but I also want to show you where you can go back to your criteria. And if you want to go out a little bit more, you can go out as much as a half of a mile when the property is in an urban environment. When I did that, I did pick up one additional comp. And if it's a large community, sometimes you can go a little bit farther out, for example, 1 mile, and so that you make sure that you stay in that community, right? Again, I'm going to go out 1 mile because this is a very large area, very large community. If I want to make sure that I do not go outside of the boundaries of that community, I have this beautiful field here called Subdivision Development Complex and Legal, where I can enter the name of the community. So again, this community is called Lakes by the Bay. I would use a little star, and then I would type in the name of that community. Again, asterisk Lakes by the Bay, and then asterisk. I just eliminated 5 comps outside of this community, as you can see. But I picked up more comps. Again, I'd like to teach you not just how we can run the comps, but also how you can maximize the data that you could pull from the system. So again, I went out 1 mile from a quarter to 1 mile, but I'm maintaining staying in that community, picking up nine comps. I'm going to go to results. All right, and let's move over, see if we have any other units that have a much larger, I mean, smaller or larger lot size. Yeah, coming back with this one, this one's fine. It's in the metrics of what I need. We're going to remove number 2 and then number 4, just because it's much smaller. So we're going to go to 2, 4, discard. All right, perfect. Now I have the comps back. See? See? We needed to go out a little bit more to find like comps in the area, just a little bit here. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to line these properties up by their asking price. I'm going to double tap the LP. It's going to show me the units at the highest end. And we're going to review the photos real quick on the very first one. All right, looks kind of like my property. Let's get inside. All right, looks like mine. Same archway. Don't see any improvements. Little low res on the photos. I do see an enclosed patio though. We're going to keep going. Some repainting. A little bit of some repainting. It might be improved. The bathroom. Let's double check. Okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of some improvements here. Painting. I don't see any modifications to flooring though. Kitchen looks like my kitchen. Definitely no improvements there. Let's keep going. Yeah, I don't see any. This one's the highest one, highest listed unit, and I don't see that any kind of improvements on it. Enclosed patio though. That's what's interesting. And it's been on the market for a while, and they've already lowered the price. This one might be overpriced, but again, our job when we're working with a customer is to give them a range in prices. This one's similar to my property. Let's go ahead and keep this one. We're going to move to the next unit priced at 539. Let's look at its photos. Ooh, that looks just like the size of mine. Ooh, but they've made some modifications. That's a nice kitchen. Certainly upgraded. Let's keep going through it. Oh yeah, that's much better than mine. Flooring has been redone. Let's keep going through it. Wow, yeah, definitely some improvements there. Bathroom looks like, yeah, the bathroom's been upgraded as well. Ooh, brick. Ooh, that's beautiful. Not real brick. Let's keep going. Kids room, definitely furnished property. Okay. Ooh, I like that. That's funny. That's funny. All right, yeah, definitely looks like a remodeled property there. Okay, so this one's not like my subject unit. We're going to remove number two, discard it. We're going to move to the next comp, priced at $499. Open its photos. Let's get in there. Standard resale. Maybe flooring. No, I don't think so. No. Let's keep going. Yeah, it looks like a standard resale. Do not see any modifications. Yep, standard resale. Standard resale. Okay. We're keeping that one. We're going to go to number three. Ooh, hold on though. Possibly upgraded kitchen. We'll double check though. I wouldn't say a ginormous change to the kitchen. Looks like a more of a mid range, low range upgrade. Bathroom, no. Maybe a repaint, not modified. Let's keep going. Yes, looks like a standard resale. Patios does not look like in this neighborhood that's impacting prices. Bathroom, maybe. We need to double check this one's remarks. I definitely see some modifications to the flooring. If that's not staged, we need to do a double check. Okay, number two. Deep dive on number two. Click on number two. Go down. Let's see. Well, let's see. Three bedroom, two bathroom, Lakes by the Bay. Okay, they're not mentioning it. Okay, I don't see that they're mentioning upgrades. We're going to keep it for now. Sorry, guys. Been a long day. Let's go to number four real quick. Let's get inside. Okay. No, don't see any upgrades. Kitchen, maybe. Definitely repaint. Flooring might. Yeah, here we go. Mid-range upgrade, maybe to kitchen. Again, that's compared to our bathroom. So we did have a modification to the bathroom that might be equivalent. We're going to keep going. Flooring looks, no, I take that back on the flooring. Not modified. Let's keep going. Oh, hold on. Bedroom might have had some flooring done. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, bathroom. This bathroom has been upgraded. Okay. Oh my, that is a big upgrade on the bathrooms. That's a beautiful bathroom. We're gonna keep going. Okay, this one. What's interesting about this one is it does look like there have had a lot of upgrades, but to be honest with you, just based on what I'm seeing, is not really pushing or moving this market from what we saw in IMAP and also what I'm seeing here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend that we keep all four of these comps. What we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you the expressway to create a CMA. So I'm going to click the square here in the top. We're going to go ahead and use these four comps. And then we're going to go right down here to actions. And then I'm going to show you how we can present the rapid CMA. We're going to click on print. Just wait on the Wi-Fi to load. There you go. Okay. And when you're in this menu, you can scroll all the way down until you see this very line right here. That's going to say reports below print as PDF only. We're going to use the CMA one-line summary report and then the 3-up comparison. This is the same CMA that we get in the full version as well as the 3-up comparison. 3-up comparison means that I'm going to be able to, when I create that CMA, if I present this directly to my customer, they're going to be able to see all of the comparables that I found with the photos of each unit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the print to PDF, but if I want to email the report to my customer, I do have the email button. We're going to go ahead and click on print. That's going to add all of these four comps so we have a general understanding of the asking prices. Okay, so I have all three of my active listings right here. A general size on the square footage that we're coming back with, the average price per square feet, original price, current listed price, how long they've been on the market, which I can mention directly to my customer here that this one's been on the market for a while. They've even had to reduce the price. I also see how long it took for the unit that was sold, how long it was on the market at 70 days. And this is my favorite part, the grand totals. So if I'm working directly with the customer, it's letting them know the original asking price on average for the units that are coming back is roughly around 523. If I'm working directly with a buyer, I can let them know, hey, based on the information I'm coming back with, the range price could be anywhere from 495 or up to 511. Again, we never want to tell the customer, hey, you need to offer this exact price. This would be the potential range from 495 up to 511 based on this area. So again, we already see, we ran those statistical reports. Homes are selling as low as 15,000 less, and that's exactly what we're kind of coming back with in the comps. We have that recommendation as far as the price range, and if my customer ever wants to see the units that we located, including the features, bedrooms and bathrooms, the address of those units, we have all of that information right here. All right, guys, that is it. I do want to thank you so much for your time. Please take advantage of these amazing stats reports. They help you understand your local market and run your comps using not just one system. Use IMAP so you can take advantage of that value ratio report so you can figure out how much the property may have been approved. And of course, also use the matrix system because we can still see properties that are active, under contract, and units that have been reported as sold in the MLS.